Hi everyone, and welcome back to Creative Chelsea. Today I'd like to share with you another Cut It to Create It tutorial. So if you haven't heard of my Cut It to Create It tutorials, what I do is I take 12 by 12 designer series paper or pattern paper like this one. This is from the Country Club designer series paper from Stampin' Up! And what I love about Stampin' Up's papers are that they come double-sided. And so I've used this packet along with a sheet from the Peaceful Poppies packet paper, and I've created some cards. So what I've done is I've taken a 12 by 12 sheet of paper and I've cut it into 9 4 by 4 squares. And then I've used that paper along with coordinating cardstock to create these cards. So let's go ahead and take a look. So what I like to do is use one layout. So you can see this is a similar layout, and then flip it so that one is vertical and one is horizontal. And this can really change up a card. So the fun thing about this paper is this is the front and this is the back of the paper. And so you can get 8 cards out of one sheet of designer series paper, and they can look different like these. Here's my second. And so for this one, I felt like this design really couldn't stand vertically. So they're both horizontal. And then this one can go both vertical and horizontal. And then this one I wanted to just be vertical. It could probably be horizontal as well, but for me, this is what I wanted. Okay, so let's just talk really quickly about the other things that I used for these cards. So I really wanted to focus on the greetings and the beautiful paper. The paper in the Peaceful Poppies designer series paper pack is just gorgeous, and I have used it on so many projects. So you can see that they've come in all different colors. They've got some great patterns, and they're just really fun to work with. So this is the one This is the one I chose. And the reason I chose this is because both sides really can stand on their own. And so that's kind of what you're looking for when you're designing with this particular Cut It to Create It card set, is 2 different patterns that can stand on their own. So then I wanted to use this So Sentimental bundle. So it comes with the stamp set and some dies that match. And these are the coordinating dies, the ones that I've used. And I really wanted those to be my focus along with the beautiful paper. And then I've just used the white crinkled seam binding ribbon. So anyway, those are such a beautiful and pretty easy card to create. Okay, so let's move to the next one. So this one is made with the Country Club designer series paper, and I've actually decided to use 2 different sheets because this packet really coordinates well with the other items in the suite, which are kind of golf themed, and I wanted to stretch a little bit and try to come up with some cards that weren't specifically golf, because I know that not everybody loves golf. So I decided to take 2 pieces and then use half of each. And I'm just using this plaid and more of a diamond shape for my cards. So you can do that as well. If your paper is not double-sided, then just use half a pack or half a sheet of paper, or even the whole sheet, and just have them all be the same. So let's go ahead and look at these cards. So you'll see that again, I've designed them the same, and I'm just using the sentiment and some images along with the paper to make these cards really stand out. So I like how the patterns from the paper kind of play against the leaves from the stamp set, and they have a nice contrast. So this one, I kind of pulled in a new color, which I used soft suede for that brown. And at first I wasn't quite sure, but then after looking at them for a little bit, I think that that element kind of softens it up a little bit. And then the same here, used soft suede just to add an element of brown for these cards. Oh. Okay, so let's go ahead and talk a little bit about the items I used here. So that again was the Country Club Designer Series paper. And then the stamp set I wanted to play with was the Rooted in Nature. And this is such a fun stamp set. It really comes with a ton of stamps and some really great greetings, which I decided not to use this time around. And it also has coordinating dies, which is nice. And then for the greetings for my more male gender cards, I wanted to use Well Said because I thought that they had a very nice structure to them, which kind of brought in that structure from the paper, kind of as a mediator between the two, the paper and the nature stamps. All right, so but quickly before I show you what I did with my last square. So when you cut your designer series paper into the 4x4 squares, you're gonna have 9 squares total. And I've shown you 8 cards. So I'm gonna go ahead and show you what I did with that last square. But before I do that, I just want to remind you that you can go to my blog and you will see individual pictures of all the cards and as well as the cutting templates. And all that is offered for free. If you'd like to have specific details on how I created these cards specifically, you can purchase that tutorial for $5. And all the information is on my blog, and that is creativechelsea.com. All right, so for that 9th square, I decided to create a little card holder. And so this is a very basic box, but it's kind of nice and large so that you can fit your cards as well as any other cards you might have in this box, along with its coordinating envelopes. So it might be a really fun gift to give to others. You could put in a nice pen, the envelopes, and then wrap it all up in some cellophane. You could even add a treat or two in the box and give this away as a gift. So that's a really nice coordinating note card gift set for somebody. All right, so to show you what I did, I wanted to go ahead and demonstrate how I made this box. So I have one piece extra from my Country Club, and I just like this green one, so I'm going to use that green plaid. And I've got my scoring tool, which is Simply Scored, and this is from Stampin' Up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to score this and show you how I do that. So I first start here scoring at, so I've got my paper going horizontal, and I'm gonna score, so this is a 4-inch, and I want my front to be 4 inches, 4 1/4 to sit around, so there's a small border around my front. So I'm gonna score at 4 1/4, and then I just flip it just to make things easier on my brain. So I'm scoring on 4 1/4 again. Oh, hold on. There. And then I'm going to go so that the 8 1/2 is at the top. So now it's running vertically. I'm going to place my square on the right, line it up. I know I need an extra 1/4 inch for my border. And then I'm going to add an 1/8 inch to this edge so that I can have a little more room for the envelopes. So this is how wide I need my inside of my box to be. So what I've got to do is I've got to divide 4 and an 1/8 in half, which I can't do. So one I'm going to do at 2 inches, and then I'm going to flip it and do one at 2 1/8. And you're really not going to know that there's a difference there. You're just going to know that your envelopes fit nicely inside. All right, so I've got my box scored, and so now what we need to do is to put it together. All right, so go ahead and just fold and crease all those lines. Okay. So it doesn't really matter which one is your front, but you should decide. So let's go ahead and put down our paper, so that way we know which one is the front. And I'm just going to center that between those two score lines. So the front, I want my front to be wrapping away from me so that I don't have a seam coming at the viewer. And so I'm going to cut right straight on this line, but then I want it to have a nice finish. And so the one that's wrapping away from me, I'm just going to cut a little triangle out of that. The rest of these I can just cut straight, and that will kind of help me keep my box straight. And if you like to cut them differently, you know, you can, but this is how I do it. So I cut straight on those crease lines, and then just the one that's wrapping away from me, which is on the front side, I take off a little bit of a sliver. So you can see that I removed a little bit there. All right, so then what I like to do is add some adhesive to the top of the middle part, and then I add adhesive to the back of the front flaps. And for me, that's all the adhesive that I need. So I'm just going to start by adding the back. And this is kind of where having those be 90-degree angles is nice, because you know that you've got it coming straight up. And then this front, I actually just line up the top. So that should be at a nice straight line. So you can see that that's been lined up and that the bottom down here has been lined up. And then just kind of put your hand in and you're just pressing against this edge to get all that adhesive to stick. Okay. So then what I did for my front of my Peaceful Poppies is I just added a bow. You could easily add a sentiment if you're giving this away as a gift. But for me, I'm just going to add my cards and some envelopes. And I am ready to put this on my desk and have it available when I need a card. Visit my blog, creativechelsea.com, for more information on the Cut It to Create It series, where you can find templates and details to create these cards. Have a creative day. Bye.